So recently, the website Social Catfish. Let me try and there it is right there. Socialcatfish.com. Uh I'm trying to not reveal what's behind the little panel here. Socialcatfish.com did a study and they focused on looking at fraud, and they took a look at stats from the FBI. They took a look at statistics at the state level in the US. This is primarily in the US, but what we will see here is that these are obviously worldwide platforms. And if it's applicable in the US, it's definitely going to be applicable in most other jurisdictions. So keep that in mind when we're looking at this. They asked, in addition to taking a look at 2021 statistics, they took a look. They did an independent survey of 726 respondents talking about their experiences with scams, and these are the top 10 platforms and apps that they found to be having the most amount of scams on them. And some of these are not going to be surprising. I'm going to suggest it's a huge amount of money that has been. So if we take a look at just what has been lost as a result of people being scammed in the US in just two states, California and New York State, those two states combined amount to $1 billion. $1 billion in losses from the perspective of victims. So that's just the top two US states. And let's reveal now the top 10 platforms for where scams are happening. And this first one is not going to be any surprise to anyone. Everybody kind of knows that Facebook is a very, very bad place to be on. Not only for children, we have talked a lot about on this channel the risks for children. There were 26 million child sex abuse reports just in 2021 on Facebook platforms, the majority of them being on Facebook itself. Now, that is primarily because they don't care anymore. When you're at the top, they lose sight of what's really important. They have focused primarily on building profits and being a profitable company. They want to put billions into the metaverse and portray that it's going to be any bit safer, and it's not. So, not really a surprise. And I'm not sure what this scale is here. I'm not sure what 200 means. I'm assuming that this is 200 of the respondents say that they were scammed on. Okay, yeah. So these are the top 10 platforms ranked in descending order, and this is from their respondents. So just about 150 respondents out of 726. What is that? That's 726 30. No, that's not 726 times 25. That's a little bit under 25% of respondents said that they essentially suffered a scam on Facebook. That's essentially what this number kind of represents here. So this next one was kind of a surprise to me at first, but then thinking about it, I'm like, I completely get it, because scammers, especially phone scammers or other types of online hackers, or these types of hijacking type software where you're you have ransomware or whatnot. These kinds of scammers, they like to do business on Google Hangouts. The main reason is because it gives everyone the impression that it is essentially anonymous. Like, you can, try to be anonymous on Google Hangouts. Well, that's not 100% accurate. Like, you're leaving a fingerprint or a footprint somewhere. I don't think that most people think about Google Hangouts when they think of apps and being scammed. But I am gonna, absolutely say that this is for sure up there. No surprise as to the third one. Obviously, a Meta, quote unquote, Meta owned platform. Facebook owns Facebook and Instagram and WhatsApp, and they're trying to get you to go into the metaverse. Yet, this is now over 200 respondents say that they have been scammed on a Facebook-owned platform. This is something that Mark Zuckerberg doesn't want people to talk about, doesn't want people to think about. They want you to think about that they're doing things the right way, and they're not. WhatsApp. So in the top 4, 3 are owned by the same company. WhatsApp, owned by Facebook, obviously, or Meta. They changed their name to Meta only when the Senate in the US started grilling them about risks to children on their platforms last year. That's the only reason they changed their name to Meta. They said, "Oh yeah, we were planning this for a while," but conveniently it came out right around the time when they were being summoned to a Senate hearing. So yeah, WhatsApp and Google Hangouts, kind of the same thing. Chat, direct one-on-one types of applications. You can also have, I believe you can have group chats on Google Hangouts. I'm not positive about that, but I know you can on WhatsApp. And that's one of the things that makes it very dangerous, is that there's so many people and there's so much fake information that's spread around on these platforms, and of what are thought to be credible information, and people supposedly that you trust. So be very careful when you are on these applications. Obviously, these are from the perspective of people that have been victimized and that have come forward and talked about this. But there are plenty other apps out there where they have just as high of risk, even probably more, because they're not really thought to be scammer type hangouts. Anyways, continuing on here, number 5 position, another surprise. We took a left turn on you. It's a dating app. Plenty of Fish, owned by Match Group. This is run by a board at Match Group, and guess who sits on the board at Match Group? It's Ryan Reynolds sits on the board at Match Group. He supports Plenty of Fish and all of the other dating apps. So Tinder is in there, Match.com, and all the other major dating platforms. They had on Match Group platforms, I believe it was 4,000. Match Group, 3,984 child sex abuse reports on their platforms. So not only are, children at risk on these platforms and children being exposed to harm and adults exploiting children on here, but also as an adult, you're being at risk for other types of harms. And now it's very clear that those harms are scams. We all kind of have heard about the Tinder swindler, and that is, romance scams are a very big part of these dating platforms. Why? Because they refuse to do proper authentication of their users. They refuse adamantly, vehemently, they refuse to expose their users. They have, I think, more than 3 million users on Tinder in the US, and they refuse. Maybe they have more. I don't even know the stats as of today, but I'm going to suggest that if you're using a dating platform, you need to be very, very careful. And I think we should do a series on how to be using dating platforms the safest. Because when it boils down to it, you can't be too safe on these platforms. And there are a lot, trust me, a lot of sketchy people on dating platforms. Not only women, but also men. And it's probably for good reason. Anyways, moving on, in the number 6 spot of the top 10 platforms, should have gone the opposite way. Should have revealed Facebook last. Anyways, Match.com. So this conglomerate of Match Group, which owns Plenty of Fish, Tinder, and Match, and a couple other dating platforms. So now what we're seeing here is a trend. We're seeing a trend of one of the top companies in the world, Meta, having 3 of the highest risk platforms, not only for kids, but also for adults and scams. And now we're seeing a trend here of another very large company. I think they did $2 billion last year, Match Group. But they can't do anything about, they're refusing to do stuff about scammers and child sex abuse on their platforms. Ryan Reynolds, why are you supporting this company? Our Time. Oh my gosh. I think this is a Match Group owned company. Let me see here. Okay, Match Group. I'm like nearly 100% positive. Our Time is a Match Group. I'm very surprised, actually. I'm surprised because I would think Our Time would be over here more. Because Our Time, if you don't know, is a dating platform for seniors or the older generation. So I would think that they are more at risk, and maybe it speaks to the amount of respondents that they got. So I don't know, the specific data, that the data set that they have here, but I'm going to suggest that this is kind of mind-blowing. We have 2 companies, Match Group, and Facebook. 2 companies that hold 6 of the top 7 platforms as far as scam risk. Completely remarkable. Let's see what is. Oh, Zoosk. I think this is not owned by. I'm almost positive Zoosk. Let me check the Zoosk library here. Who owns Zoosk? Parent organization is Spark Networks. Spark Networks. So they have some of their subsidiaries are Christian Mingle, a lot of dating sites, a lot of dating apps. JDate, Christian Mingle, Elite Singles, Darling, Silver Singles. I'm assuming Silver Singles is another one like Our Time. But it's good to diversify this list. All right, what are we at here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Here's number 9, Words with Friends. That is a surprise. Now, if you don't know, Words with Friends is a game, I believe. I haven't played it ever, but I thought it was like a networked game. So you can like play with friends, as the title suggests. But Words with Friends, very surprising here. And not surprising at all. You know, you're at risk anywhere where you can communicate with anybody else. And that's the sad part about this. All right. Who is in the number 10 spot? Put it in the comment section below. Who do you think is in number 10? Tinder! Yay! Tinder. Congratulations, Match Group. And Ryan Reynolds. Ryan Reynolds, why are you supporting Match Group? I'm just kind of blown away by when I learned about Ryan Reynolds, he's such a likable person, and he's a Canadian, and he's supporting such a horrible company. 3,984 child sex abuse reports. That's up 18% from 2020. So just about 4,000 child sex abuse reports, online exploitation, child sex abuse material, child sex trafficking, and online enticement. All of those happening on these platforms. Plenty of Fish, Match Group, and Tinder, and Our Time, happening on all 4 of those platforms and the rest of their platforms. Those are just child sex abuse reports. Now we're seeing a different picture here. Now we're seeing the bigger picture. So the other side of online risk, which is typically, you know, the scam side. And it's just all kind of predation, some kind of predation of some kind. Anyways, thanks for watching. Can't wait to do another video about this. And we're likely going to do a safety video for online dating very, very soon. Thanks for watching, and we will see you next time. Get on our website, HelpUsDefend.com, for more.